Oh, hello. I'm Mikey from JMK Custom Works. Thanks for tuning in to my How To Basics set of videos. This is the first. There's going to be more to come. In this video, we're going to talk about joint prep. No, not that kind. I see a lot of customizers struggle with this or at least skip this step. And I'm going to show you how to take your customs to the next level. Actually still be able to pose them and move the joints with a much lower risk of scraping that paint off. You can always seal it, and I encourage you to do so, but it's that surface prep step that is so crucial in painting anything. Auto body guys would say the same thing. We're talking toys, and we're talking joint prep. With that being said,
Oh, you look good.
Any tips?
What?
Any tips you got?
I'm
going to go over some tools and some tricks to help you take your customs to the next level.
A little much.
Let's get into it. There's two versions of the classified figures. There's the first versions, which are pin joint. You can see the pins on the legs and the elbows. And then the newer version, they're pinless, so you can't remove the knees or elbows. But you can see that the joints raise above the arm portions, so you know you can at least grind down to that without them looking off or anything. So the first thing I'm going to do is just remove the legs with my heat gun. So we're just going to run the upper legs over the heat. It's important to keep it moving because if you hold it in one spot, you really run the risk of melting or deforming the plastic. So now with the legs removed, I'm going to take one side of the leg and heat the area around the pins, and that is going to be the exit side. So I'm going to push from the other side with my block here and my pin punch. Then I'm just going to use pressure and push it through the other side. Here you can see that. And then for the lower leg, same thing. And there's those pins, and you can see they're identical, so you don't have to worry about mixing them up. And slide the knee out of the leg. And then we're going to use a couple different versions here. I'll show you how to do these. So the quick and dirty version is just using an emery board or some sanding sticks. Obviously emery boards you can get you can get it all from Amazon, but you get this at a beauty supply place or Walmart or anything like that. It'll be with the nails and manicure stuff. And you just run it over it, keep it moving. You don't want to file a flat spot onto the joint. Do the upper portion, then you can kind of shave off the sides a little bit because it'll be a little fragments of plastic on the side there. So just clean it up a little bit. Advanced way is using a Dremel bit, which I'm going to do here, and you just really carefully just let it slide across the top of whatever you're grinding off. Don't put any pressure on it. Just try to hold it as steady as possible and just work at it a little bit. Trim it off and just keep moving. Again, you don't want to stop in one spot. You'll get a divot. So just move real careful and don't apply any pressure. Just let the drill bit do the work. You focus on control. This is definitely the fastest way, but it's also pretty easy to get carried away, and if you're not holding it still, you definitely run the risk of it skipping or jumping, which just makes more work for you. So what I'm doing here is just putting in some of the detail that I ground out, just some of the wrinkles in the pants. I'm just putting them back in a little bit. So here's one of those sanding sticks. Now I get these from Hobby Lobby. It's about $3 for a pack of them. They are double-sided, and each side is its own grit. So I'm using the heavier grit here to smooth it out. So you just kind of hit the edges, clean those up as well. Now these sanding sticks, the blue ones are 120 grit and 240 grit, and they also have a white one that is 240 grit and 320 grit. But for this project, the 320 grit is not really necessary, even the 240. So another bit you can use is a sanding or sharpening bit. This I've found gives you a little more leeway on how much material is removed. It also does a really good job of smoothing it out. Just use the same principles you used on the grinding bit. Not applying a lot of pressure. Now, if you apply pressure to this, it will grind through. And also something to remember is that these are rotary bits, so they're spinning, which means whatever you're grinding or sanding it is generating heat. So with this being a soft plastic, it will start to melt it if you linger in one spot for too long. So just kind of keep it moving. Again, don't stop in one spot or grind a divot into it. Remember, we're not the cranberries. We don't want to let it linger. And then I'm just going to use an X-Acto knife to clean the edges up a little bit, get rid of any plastic pieces that are still hanging around that I didn't grind off completely. And then go over the edges and smooth them out a little bit. We're really just using the blade to kind of scrape the edge. We're really not cutting. Just cleaning out some of the wrinkles that I put in earlier. Pretty much that one. So putting these together goes the same way. Just heat that one side up again. This time since it's reversed, this is going to be the entry. Now the knee joints and stuff, especially these older ones, they have an arrow indicator on what side goes up, and I think just about every part you can find an L or an R. So if you do take them all apart all at once, like I said, you're heating up the entry side this time, so less resistance going in, and then it's going to pop into the back. The thicker side of my punch, and then the thin side to put it in the rest of the way. And then just kind of pinch the knees together and make sure that pin is seated on both sides. But here you can see the gap that we created by removing that material. And that's really what you're after. You just want to remove the same material that you're going to add with paint, primer. And here we'll show you real quick how to do the single-sided joints, so wrists and ankles. Just pop the foot off, and then you're going to pull the pin back all the way to one side, and you're going to do the same grinding techniques. You're just going to start from the pin and move out as far as you can. Now with this Duke, he's got those those shin guards, so you don't want to go too far over to that. Damage that. Just going to remove the material and make it basically flush with the that portion of the ankle. Just take that much material off should be sufficient. Clean this up because we're going to rotate that joint, and I don't want that getting caught in there, because if that gets caught in there, then that could also take paint off. And then here I'm trimming the edges. That off too. So if you can't remove the joint, like on an ankle or a wrist, I like to run an X-Acto blade in between the lower leg portion and the joint, so you kind of slide into that groove and then just carefully remove that material. Now you see, when we rotated this, I met the seam that we left before I rotated it. So that whole joint has been taken down. Like I said, just in between the joint and the leg, going through there, cleaning that, cleaning that out. Anything you leave behind is a rough surface that could remove paint. That's the whole point of doing this. You want to take the extra precautions. You want to mitigate the risk of removing paint, otherwise the work is for nothing. So with newer style figures, like I said, you can't remove the joints, but the surface of the joint is not flush with the leg, so the risk of grinding off part of the leg is lower, so you can at least take that much material off. Same deal here. I'm going to remove the legs. Heat gun to the crotchal region. Pop the legs off. Set this aside. Inside of this, same principles. You have to be a little more careful. You don't want to don't want to damage the rest of the figure. You don't want to put a big groove into the leg. But what I like to do on these, since I can't remove them, I'll start at the edges and give myself kind of a reference on how far to grind down. So once you start, it's kind of hard to see because of the extra material that's left on the edges of the joint. So I'm just going to carefully go around the joint there and trim as much of that off as I can. And then here again. And these bits that I'm using here do a good job of getting into that back of the kneecap portion of that joint, so you can level everything out and make it look as good as possible. Said no pressure applied. Just make light passes. Let it do its thing. Let the bit do the work. And then all that's left is just cleaning it up. Like I said, we just run the blade in between the joint and the actual leg. Just trim off all of the left behind stuff. And I also like to go into the leg, run the blade flat, parallel to the joint, kind of go into the leg a little bit, and just kind of gently clean that out. I hit it with the sanding stick, clean it up a little bit. You don't have to worry about taking it down to a real fine grit. Here I'm just going to use a little alcohol just to clean up the dust, so when I do start the rest of that project or use this, it's clean. Doing good. Now you would just have to do the top the same way we did the back, and you're good to go. And, same with the elbows, same tricks. That's it. So that's it. Simple enough, right? You watched the video, now you got it. Okay, maybe not. This is going to take some practice.
No pain, no gain.
Practice away. Practice is super, super important. Almost. Well, no, it's more important than joint prep, but joint prep's up there. Paint prep is a very looked over aspect of customizing. It doesn't matter if it's just cleaning the surface before you paint, so your paint evenly coats the surface, or if we're talking joint prep, because anything that is movable, you run the risk of scraping. So anywhere where that is, just do a little prep work. Take a little bit off. You're going to do a ab crunch section, just take the sandpaper in there a little bit. Just by yourself, just a little bit.
Gonna take a little off the top.
To replace with that, as you layer paint on top of each other, it gets thicker. The thicker it is, the more likely it is to scrape off. I want to encourage to elevate your customs to the next level.
Never give up, never surrender.
And we're starting that with joint prep. I see so many customizers struggle with this, or maybe just ignore it because they're not sure how to do it, or maybe they just don't want to, and that's fine. You do you, boo.
Dorsal snap in Z formation.
But for those of you that want to take it to the next level, I want to do these videos for you. I want to encourage you to push yourself and improve upon your craft.
You can do it.
And hone it in as a whole.
Come on, you can do it.
And it doesn't matter if you're just doing a simple repaint.
You can do it!
Or if you're doing a full blown apart custom using different parts and pieces from different lines.
Let's do it.
Let's do it!
That surface to surface prep, super crucial.
It's very crucial.
I just want to encourage you guys to stay with it, keep going, take it to the next level, maybe even go over the top. You know what I'm saying?
And it's like a switch that goes on.
Let me tell you something. I'm not an expert. These are just the tools and the tricks that I use that help me, that I hope helps you. Not an expert. Just want to reiterate. I appreciate you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, whatever you do. Very appreciative. I hope you all have a fantastic day or night. I don't know when y'all are watching this. Okay? I don't. Until we see each other again, you have a good one, all right?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks for watching. If you like that, be sure you like, share, and subscribe, and follow me on my socials, JMK Custom Works. We'll see you next time.